Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Handyman Success Podcast, where we bring on owners of successful handyman and home improvement companies to really dig into their tactics, what they do, what works well, what hasn't worked well, and their story so that you can learn from them and also be inspired by their experiences and their story and then just being here and sharing with us. So my name is Jason Call with Handyman Marketing Pros. I am co-hosted with Alan Lee with Honestly Handyman and the Handyman Journey. And today we are honored and humbled to be with Mr. Stephen Capps. So Stephen, if you don't mind kind of introducing yourself, where you're from, kind of the lay of the land and where you're at right now in your handyman business.
Sure. My name is Stephen Capps. I am from the big city of Marshall, Texas. We've been in the handyman business technically, I think, for 5 months. We've been doing work for about 3 months. And the handyman business is an offshoot of our primary custom gate business. So it's TXGates Handyman service, which if you're from California, that is probably crazy. Why is it called TXGates? Well, if you're in East Texas, you know who TXGates is. So that's who I am. And I host a small podcast.
Yeah, Pull Up and Thrive podcast.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we'll
yes,
plug
yes,
that. It's a
yes.
great podcast for business owners. I know, we've tuned into a few episodes here, and it's certainly the latest is really tuned to handyman service owners, and I think it's incredibly valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So Pull Up and Thrive, definitely check it out.
Thanks.
So, Steve, I know your story is. I'm really excited to dig into your story, but also your handyman service. So you mentioned you have been in business for 5 months, but you've been doing work for 3 months. So you have put in a lot of time and effort and resources into the startup and getting everything geared up. And so if you don't mind kind of opening that up, shedding some light on your 5 months so far, what does that 5 months look like for you? Just shedding some light on that.
Well, if we can back up a little bit to where it makes a little bit more sense.
100%.
Because to the average listener or the average person, what, 5 months? This guy's a joke, which, so our primary business, TXGates, we build and install custom driveway gates. And we started that business in 2003. So as far as business, we're 18 years into business. And I made every mistake that you can possibly make in business and life, but I survived. So at this point, starting a new business, I have already made thousands of mistakes. So now I can start out of the gate like a fresh runner. And then that's our advantage over a person who has never had a business and never had to deal with customers and employees and taxes and all the things that can put you out of business. So the gate business was at such a point to where I had basically worked myself out of a job, which is wonderful. But I have the type of personality that I have to keep busy and I have to be doing something. So I had this harebrained idea of starting a handyman business. So in January of this year, me and another guy started strategizing about how to start this handyman business. He's a carpenter. He has been in construction for 20 plus years. My background was originally painting, property management, and I'm just always been handy at fixing things, hanging things, whatever. And in the gate business, we constantly have to get new customers. And that's the hardest part of having a business, is getting a customer. Mm-hmm. So, hey, we had a great September, or we had a great month last month or whatever. It doesn't mean anything in the gate business. I got to start all over again. And so I was like, what business can we do? What service can we offer that we can solicit our existing customers? And I had every different harebrained, crazy idea that you could ever think of. But something I did was I just sat down and I just did a brain dump. I just started writing down ideas. There was no right, no wrong, and there was all types of crazy stuff in there.
What was the craziest? Besides handyman services.
Well,
just kidding.
That one was probably number 2, but no, it was like auto detailing, mowing lawns, house cleaning, and handyman was on that list. And I did that list like a year ago, trying to, oh man, I got to figure this out. And I think one reason why people go into business is that they're good problem solvers. And so that's what you do when you have a problem is, all right, how do I solve this problem? And so I hacked away at that in my brain and just writing things out for a long time. And then I have what I call my board of directors, which is people in my life that I trust to tell me the truth. And I will go to them whenever I'm doing something big. Like our gate business moved from a 6,000 square foot warehouse off on a side street, some greasy, nasty building, into a 14,000 square foot facility right on a main highway. Well, I had been in business long enough to know these are the types of decisions that can put people out of business. So I went to my board of directors, which is like just 5 or 6 friends that I know and trust. So whenever we were starting the handyman business, or whenever we had the handyman concept, I went to these people. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? Do you think that Marshall needs that? And everyone was like, that is a great idea. That would do great. That is awesome. Which every time I do this, I am wanting someone to tell me, Steve, you are crazy. Because these big things that we do, they are a lot of work. And, cranking the screwdriver in the handyman business is the easy part. That is the easy part. So everyone was like, it is a great idea. I talked to my wife, Sarah, and she's like, out of all of your other ideas, this one is the best one you've had. And so me and a friend of mine, we're meeting several times a week, just, talking about what this will look like. And I took some cash that I had from the other business to start the handyman. And so in full disclosure, I took $28,000 cash that we had and I put it in a separate account and said, this is for the handyman business. And this is all you get. So because I figured I could buy me a truck and do some basic, get a CRM, get some t-shirts made and yard signs, and then have payroll for this guy for about 2 or 3 months. So I'll put this in this account. And so that was in January. So then on January 28th, I made my first post in the handyman journey mastermind group. Yes. And then in February, about a week later, we purchased our box truck for $10,500. And everyone in the group was saying I was a crazy even then. well, you just need to go out and start knocking on doors. But what I have learned, whenever we started our gate business in 2003, I was married to Lisa, and her dad gave us his company, and everyone's like, "Oh, wow, that's amazing." Well, what it amounted to was that we got a forklift, a welding machine, and a business that didn't make any money. But I was like, game on. This is awesome. I am pumped. Well, I had to figure out how to make this thing make money. I have always been entrepreneurial, and I've always been a hard worker. So I thought, well, I will just work really hard, and that'll make it happen. It'll be magic. Well, we worked super hard, and I had a bunch of harebrained ideas. Went into a bunch of debt for stuff that we thought, oh, if we buy this piece of equipment, then that will change everything. Well, one of my harebrained ideas about 2 or 3 years into the business was to make custom gates, because we had a few customers that we made a product for, and that was the only thing keeping this thing afloat. But we had to have something else, so I made a gate, put it out by the street, custom gates, and the rest is history. Wow. So it was like, man, this is awesome. One of my ideas finally worked. And so we were at probably 200,000 in revenue prior to doing the gates. And that year we ended up about 275,000. So just the gate idea was a $70,000 idea for that year in revenue.
That's awesome.
And so we're going up and up and up. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. We are actually paying ourselves, we made it, Well, that was the time that my wife was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer.
Wow.
And it's like, oh man. But we approached that like we did everything else. Okay, let's just get this done and behind us. And we're people of faith, and we did a lot of praying and trusting in the Lord, and working hard and all that stuff. But she was diagnosed in September of 2005, and then she passed away one week before Christmas, 2006.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And so she took care of everything in the office, and I was doing everything in the shop. And I had no clue what in the world she did.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was asking me, "Hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do now?" Well, I didn't have any other choice. I had to go back to work because we were in so much debt, and we had no life insurance, no health insurance, and no savings, just a ton of debt. But I was like, okay, I'll just go and work real hard and make it happen. And 10 months later, I am remarried, which it was a whirlwind. It was a crazy time. It was like things of God and things not of God. It was just all, it was just a crazy, amazing and painful at the same time. It's hard to explain. But me and my new wife, Sarah, are on our honeymoon in New York City. And I get 2 phone calls. And then I say that this was the beginning of the crashing and burning of my life. The first phone call was one of my employees saying that his payroll check just bounced. And the second phone call was from my secretary saying that our largest customer just canceled a $30,000 purchase order.
Whew.
So the customer that would always be there and the customer that was going to get us out of this mess is now gone. And at that time, they were about 1/3 of our revenue.
Wow.
So we were, not only were we crashing, but we were on fire. So it went from bad to worse. So, I lost my wife to cancer. We lose our largest customer. and I get remarried all within a 10-month period. And the only thing that I knew was hard work. But over that time period, I found out that hard work is very important, but it will only get you so far. And it wasn't that long ago. I was at this huge conference, and I was talking to a business coach, and he asked me what my goal was. I said, well, my goal that year was to break $1 million in revenue. And he asked me, how was I going to do that? Well, we're just going to work really hard. And,
Right.
I did not have the answer, but so here we are. I mean, crashing and burning, trying not to go out of business because I owed everybody money. We had a credit card debt. We had a vendor debt. We had personal loans, like from my friends that I had borrowed money from, like no small amounts, $30,000 I borrowed from a friend of mine, and then everything blows up in my face, and now I can't pay him. So the pressure and the struggle of just having a business, when you're making all of these dumb choices, it just magnifies everything and it makes it all worse. And so a friend of ours told us about Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace, which is how to get out of debt and how to live on a budget. And I was like, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. But we went to the class and we went nuts. And once I had made up my mind, there was no turning me around. So we were scorched earth. We are getting out of debt. And we drove junk cars, and I ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every day for lunch, and all my friends were making fun of me. But whenever you have, just imagine you owe 5 or 6 of your friends money, and you're in a situation that you can't pay them, and you didn't know that you were supposed to be paying payroll taxes for the past 2 years. So the IRS is knocking on your door, knock, knock. So under all of this pressure, so during this same time, I read my first business and leadership book, John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. So that was in 2008. So 5 years into business, and I have never read a book. That now just sounds so insane. But I thought, like a lot of guys thought, who were raised as hard workers. I get the job done. We don't have time for that learning stuff. We just need to go out and work. So I started to read, and in about 2015, it was either 15 or 16, I read a book by Rory Vaden called Procrastinate on Purpose. And there's a line in the book that says a company can never outgrow the strengths of its systems. And I was like, what does that mean? So being the investigator that I am, I began to, all right, what does it mean? What is a system? That just sounds so big and hard and, extravagant. All a system is how we do business. How do you go on a handyman call? What is the customer journey from the time that the phone rings until you have that final check? Well, most guys are like me. They have no idea. They're just flying by the seat of their pants and hoping for the best. And then they get busy and they're like, I need help. So they find a guy that, hey, he needs a job and I need help. It's a match made in heaven. So they hire these crazy people. And so first they have the mindset of, all right, I just have to work harder. and I need help. So he needs a job. All right. And this guy has all kinds of problems. You know, he doesn't show up. He, you know, shows up late. Then you send him on a job and he doesn't do the job. But then you fall into that mindset of no one wants to work. This is just how it is. And this is where so many business owners fall into the trap, and they think that they're stuck. Because now they're in too deep and now they can't get out, because maybe they took on some debt to start the business, or they get going in business and, man, this is awesome, I'm making all this money, but they're not paying their taxes, and now they're in debt to the IRS. So now they're trapped again. And the myth that I'm going to start my own business and work less and make more is a myth. It is a myth. But so many guys, and then that is where my heart and my passion is for those guys who they feel trapped, because I've been there. I have been there. I owe everybody money. And nobody cares about my sad story. Honestly, at the end of the day, my vendors want to get paid. So the starting forward momentum for me was whenever in my business, I took everything back in the sense of, this is my responsibility. This is my responsibility to get it figured out. And
so what did that look like then, when taking that from what you just mentioned that you learned from your Gates business? How does that translate to the handyman business, and really those 2 months that you focused on, you know, working in the business before you worked on the business?
Well, yes, because over the last 16, 17 years, I have already made all of the mistakes. So now going forward, all right, if anyone wants to start a business, any type of business, handyman business, multi-million-dollar business, whatever, step number one, mission statement. Why do you exist? What do you stand for? And what do you do? Because if you do not have a mission that is greater than money, whenever it gets hard, you quit. So step number one, starting my handyman. Step number one for me, starting my handyman business. Once I've talked to my board of directors, and I've talked to my wife, and I've made the decision to start. Step number one, what is my mission? Our mission is to change the service industry by extreme clean, radical integrity, and customer service that will blow your mind. That is our mission.
Love it.
And that is not something that I take lightly. This is why we're doing this. So you have to have a mission. Second, you have to have core values. What is core to you? What is important to you? Well, me, whatever it takes attitude. I don't care what it takes. Once that we decide to do it, this is what we're doing. And if we are serving our customers and we screw up, or they're not happy, well, we are going to do whatever it takes to make them happy, even if that means giving them their money back.
Right.
So, a mission statement, core values, and then you have to have strategic priorities. All right, you have to stop and think. Guys who are entrepreneurial, heavy hitters, hard charging, they don't stop and think.
They just
There's
do.
like, well, we got to bust down this wall, and yeah, here we go. Henry Ford said that thanking is the hardest thing that we will ever do. That is why so few people do it. So we have to stop and think. okay, what do I want my business to look like? Do I want to have 2 or 3 guys? Do I want it just to be me and a helper? Do I want to have 50 employees? What is that? What do I want for my life?
Mm-hmm.
And so you make a plan. And then, so making a plan or setting a goal is like saying, okay, I want to get on top of that building. Okay, what type of a ladder do we need to get on top of that building? And you lean the ladder on the building, and then a ladder has multiple rungs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just one thing to reach your goal. It's
Mhm.
what are the steps I need to take today to get me to the end result.
So what would you say to a handyman that say already got started? Because this is like a wildly different thought, and this is why
Sure.
probably you got so much flack on the handyman journey, because you spent 2 months working on your business. What would you say to a guy that, man, is just like went full bore, into working, 7 days a week in his handyman business and just trying to make it work, but he didn't figure any of this stuff out. He didn't
Right.
figure out his mission statement, his core values, his strategic priorities. He's like, I ain't got time to think about that because I need to
Right.
go out and make some money.
Right.
Like, what would you say to that guy wanting to take the business to the next level, but not knowing how to do that because he's
Right.
so swamped right now in being busy,
Right.
you know?
Well, first of all, you have to slow down. Now I know it's
Easier said than done.
Yeah. I get it. Take a Saturday, take an afternoon, take just an hour and go in your truck or on your patio or go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, all right, what do I want this to look like? Because I have a saying that we do not see what we do not look at. So when you're hard charging, go, I am way too busy to stop. You are not seeing any of the things that are really important to changing the position where you're at now, because the position that we are in now is a culmination of the choices choices that we made in the past.
Love it. Yeah.
So if you're too busy to take a day or a half day or whatever and just stop and take an hour and start to just think about what you want the business to look like. And there is an exercise that I love, and I call it the 4 helpfuls. Let me pull it up here real quick. But it's basically you make a list of, you make 4 separate columns, and then at the top you write a broken, a working, a confusing, and missing. Then under each of those headlines, write what is a broken. Then write what is missing, what is confusing. If you will take 30 minutes and do that exercise, that'll change everything. Because it begins to take, everything's crazy. I don't know what's, well, you ask someone under pressure, under stress, hey, what is your biggest pain point right now? And they can tell you.
Right.
They can tell you. So slow down, do this exercise, and then that will bring things into focus for the individual. Because there's 100 things not working, but what do I start on first? Do this exercise, and then whatever is working, you want to magnify. do more of what's working.
Do more of what's working. That's
What-
great. So if you could take this principle that you learned, right, and apply it to that gate business when you first bought it, what would that look like? What changes would you have made? Because you kind of walked us through some of the big struggles that you had in that gate business. What would you have done differently in that?
Well, number one, I would have started part-time.
Okay.
A business did have a product that we sold to manufacturers, and they would make an order once a month, once a quarter, whatever. And so there was enough revenue there that would be a very nice income to start part-time. But I didn't do that because I'm all in. Here we go,
Right.
whatever it takes.
Mhm.
And so at that time, we had to get more revenue, and I didn't even know
Mhm.
what that looked like. I didn't because I didn't know who my customer was,
Mhm.
which is super important. Now in the handyman business, that sort of narrows down the customer. All right, my customer is someone who owns a home. Okay,
Right.
so
Check.
yeah. But in the gate, which it wasn't a gate business,
Mhm.
it was a metal
Right.
fabrication, or
Yeah, and it transitioned. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so in the handyman business, if you're going crazy, full speed ahead, you can't. There isn't enough hours in the day to get everything done, and
Mhm.
you put out 5 fires, and then 10 more spring up over here. So the first thing I would do, slow down for 30 minutes.
Hmm.
Do this exercise. What is working? What is confusing? What is missing? And what is broken? And then the things that are missing and broken, what is the number 1 or 2 things out of your list that needs the most attention now?
Hmm.
And when it's all in our head, we really can't identify it. But we take a few minutes and we write it out. Oh, this one right there, that one is hot. It is on fire. And then you begin to solve your problems one by one.
Mhm.
Yes, I would love to dig into like what's on fire, what's working for you right now, because just to kind of recap too, like Stephen, like you had 2 months of planning because you learned that that's what it took, and you also had the resources and the experience to like know this and be able to invest in your business. And just to give our listeners kind of some perspective here too, if I recall correctly, you finished up month 3 in your handyman business. Your goal was 25,000 in revenue for that 1 month, and you came
Yes.
up a little bit short, but not by much. And so
Mhm.
for month 3 to have a goal of $25,000 in revenue and just miss it by a bit, that I'm sure is going to blow some minds. And it's totally possible because Steven is sitting here and he's got these goals, and he's putting this work into his business. So what is working? What is on fire for you to be able to set this goal of $25,000 in revenue for month 3? And so what are you doing to like even get close to that for month 3? What's
Right.
working for you? Like what's kind of the marketing, pricing, estimating, systems, kind of like, if you can kind of give our listeners a synopsis of how in the world are you out of your mind?
I am out of my mind. And all right. There is an extreme pain point in the marketplace. I don't care if you're in Texas, California, doesn't matter. Contractors as a whole don't show up. They don't answer their phone. They don't call people back, and they don't give people prices. And so there is such a pain point in the marketplace, and especially the small jobs. Okay, there is even a greater pain point. All right, if a person is in pain, if I have a toothache and it is killing me, and I have had some pains that, thought like this is the end, that person will pay any, it is not about the money. It is not about the money. So for us,
the pain is just so great.
The pain is so great.
There's so many homeowners that are just craving, and they're just desperate for a reliable home repair company.
All right. So this is our niche. Okay. I'm going to give all my secrets away. All right.
Get out your notepads.
All right. Show up. That is 50%. 50% of it. Show up. Show up when you say that you're going to show up. Something that we do that takes most of the price shoppers out of the equation is that we charge a $69 a dispatch fee. It is $69 for us to come out and look at the work. And we hear fairly regular, well, all of the other guys that we're getting a price from don't charge that. Well, if someone is price shopping, then they're probably not our customer.
Right. And they're probably not going to want to pay that $69 dispatch fee.
Right.
They'll be like, no, I'll look for someone else.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we have really niched down what we do. Okay. We don't do roofs. We do not do roof repairs. We do not do foundation repairs. We do not do plumbing. We don't do electrical. And we don't do anything that would be more than a week. That's sort of, we really niche. And then folks are like, well, what in the world do you do?
I've been asked that a time or two too.
Yeah. We do the jobs that no one else wants to do, in the sense of they're not a large enough job for a big contractor. So we do the dispatch fee. We have systematized pricing, like we have a blocks of time that the handyman goes out, evaluates other work, and gives the price on the spot.
That's excellent. That's huge, man. So you go out, meet with the client, and give them a price right then.
Yes.
And I believe you do the work right then, correct?
That's sort of our model.
Okay.
But that hasn't necessarily been what happens. We've looked at 39 jobs. We've sold 34 of them.
Wow.
And
that's a heck of a closing rate.
And probably only 5 or 6 of them did we do right then.
Okay.
Most of them we ended up scheduling them out, just, hey, we'll be back next Thursday or whatever. But I have a dispatcher that does all of the scheduling and all of the customer communication. And so we have a defined roles. And for each role, there is a KRA, or a key results area for each role. And
can you give an example of like a for one of those roles, like what one of those KRA?
Okay. The handyman has 3 different KRAs. number one, he's a revenue generator. That is his number one KRA. Then his a number two KRA is to do the work and satisfy the customer. And then a number three is shop and truck organization. And then those are like the high level. And then under each one of those, it has a KPI, like for the revenue generator. The outcome that we want him to do is sell jobs and do the work same day, or have the dispatcher schedule the work. And another one would be to take payment. Just very simple outcomes. And what is really important is that you don't want to write tasks down, because you can't delegate a task. You want to delegate the outcome. So like one of the KRAs is to super serve our customer. Well, whenever you understand our mission, whenever you understand our core values, and you understand the KRA, you know what it means to super serve the customer. So this is where so many guys miss it, is that they don't have a mission statement, they don't have any core values, and they hire people who do not have the same mission or the same core values as you. So if I have a whatever it takes attitude, and I hire someone that he doesn't give a rip, and I'm out of here at 5, then it's going to be a problem. But we make the mistake of hiring for skill first. Well, he's a good carpenter. I know he's a jerk, and he says things that he doesn't mean, and he doesn't show up, and he calls in every Monday. But he's a good carpenter when he's here. And we are our own worst enemy. And so the things that are working for me is that we have a clear system of who the customer is. We have the dispatch fee. We have a systematized pricing. So the handyman goes out. He thinks that he thinks that the job will take 4 hours or 6 hours or whatever. There's a predetermined price for that already has some of the materials already built into the price. So if it's something that we have to call Lowe's and get all these prices and quote the job, we're not doing it. Just because what happens is that you spend all this time in doing all these bids, and the customer's like, all right, thanks.
See you later.
So,
Yeah.
So I know you guys serve like the higher end clients that will pay a above average rate, like you're the highest likely in your market. So you've given 39 bids. What are you doing for marketing, and how have you gotten these 39 leads? And if you could walk through like how you're getting your customers.
Okay. Right now, we're in a very vulnerable position, like a lot of other businesses who it's only 1 or 2 guys. And we're sort of teetering to where we could do a little bit of marketing and blow up in a good way, but then it would be very bad very quickly. So right now, we do an email blast about once every other month.
Is that to like your database of like gate customers too?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. That's probably like that's like if they bought a gate, they're almost pre-qualified to be a great customer for a handyman service.
Right.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And they know your brand too.
Yes.
So they're comfortable with you.
Yes. That I cannot emphasize enough, building your brand. You have to build a brand that people trust. Because if people don't trust, if people don't don't trust you, it does not matter how great your service is. They don't care how many years of experience, and you're a master carpenter and you're a journeyman this and then, and you know, they do not care. So sorry.
And one point I want to make on that brand thing too is a lot of guys, they get tied down with like, well, what if it's not me showing up? Like,
Right.
Alan's my handyman, not Honestly. Well,
Right.
Alan's built this brand, Honestly, and then the technician who's not Alan, maybe it used to be Alan for the same exact customer, Frank comes out, but whenever he follows the mission and the guidelines and gives that same level of experience, it doesn't matter if it's Alan or Frank or whoever.
Right.
Something that, Steven, I know you've shared before that I absolutely love is to me, that fills the gap between, oh, I want Steven. Well, too bad, you're getting Frank. And guess what? Frank showed up to your house and the first thing he said to you was, hey, is it okay if I park my truck there? Like, that is something that Steven shared that they do. That's the first question they ask. Is it okay if I park my vehicle where it is right now? And instantly in that consumer's head, like if they were thinking that they were going to get Steven or Alan, whoever they know as their handyman, if they had that in their head, instantly they're like, oh, I like this guy now too. You know why? Because he's in the same brand. He has the same mission as the owner and who they're used to. So anyway, that's just a quick tangent of just the things that you do as in processes and hiring and the mission that all fit together to create this brand that it doesn't matter who shows up.
Right. And so, so we do email. We have graphics on our vehicles, and your graphics are super important. Do not try to write War and Peace on the side of your truck. It has to be clear and it has to be precise, because people only have milliseconds to see your truck as you're driving by 70 miles an hour.
Right. Billboard.
So, billboard. So simple, clear graphics. We have a uniform, a button-down shirt that is tucked in, and whenever we go inside of people's homes, we put on boot covers. And customers say all the time, "Oh, it's not a big deal. You don't have to do that," but it is a big deal. Right. Because they see how much you are caring for their most valuable investment.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, we need to think about how would we want to be treated? Like, I love, your first question of, hey, is it okay if I parked where I parked? Right. Like, because oftentimes, you can think about, like, even if it's not you, it might be your wife, right? Your wife might be like, hey, that's really awesome they asked that, because I'm always like really pissed off at the way, people park everywhere they want and have no consideration. So I think having at least some decency of like, hey, is it cool where we parked and we're going to put booties on? Even though you say it's okay, we're going to put them on, right? Because we actually care about your property. Right. So I think it presents a whole nother level of professionalism of we care about you beyond just the work that we are doing. Because you're not just a number. You're not just someone who's going to give us a check at the end of the day. You're someone that we literally want to partner with in life. And I think that's really where you're getting at, which is fantastic.
And so we're a professional. Okay. We look at the work, give them pricing on site. Like, we will step out, work up a invoice or an estimate, and then we go back in and we all the things that we do are scripted. Like, it's not by accident. Like, whenever you go to Chick-fil-A and they have a line wrapped around the building 4 lanes deep, right? And you are in and out in 10 minutes, driving down the road, eating a hot chicken sandwich. That is no accident. They are working a system.
Yep.
So one of the things that we strategized prior to going on our first job was, okay, how does this look like? How do we answer the phone? What is the script that we read from whenever we're going over what the customer should expect? Now you do it enough times, and it's not like you're reading from a script.
Right. It becomes natural. Yeah.
But all right, you go to a movie. Whenever you watch a movie, there is not one person on the screen that they just showed up to the set and was like, well, we're just going to ad lib. I've been an actor for 30 years, so I'm just going to wing it. But folks do that all the time in business, all the time. So then we give on the spot pricing, and the whole time this giving the person the price is sort of the climactic scene at the end of the movie. From the first contact on the phone, we are building trust the whole way, building trust. And then they're like so in love with us. Have you ever had a brand that you are in love with, that they did something that you didn't like, or maybe something didn't work, but you have so much love for the brand, you sort of let it slide? Well, it's not a big deal,
I can tell you right now, if you showed up to my house and asked my wife if that's okay where you parked, put on the boots, you could do the most, hack job, and she'd check and call you back.
Now, let me just give some credit to Ben Alexander.
Yes,
he's in the
fantastic
Handyman.
guy.
Yes, he's in the group, and he's been super helpful with a lot of our processes. So I don't want to take all the credit, but again, information is the easy part. Execution, because what are you going to do whenever you get in the middle of the fight? Are you going to stick with your training, or are you going to go crazy and lose your mind?
Right.
So just as an example, this is a job that we did. This was one of our gate customers. They wanted us to hang a TV. Okay. They already had the TV and the TV mount. All we had to do was hang it. $537. And people freak out.
Yeah.
You're ripping them off. Oh, that's a 30-minute job. And it is about the value to the customer. Now, this particular job was very, well, from just a beginning to end, it was not a straightforward, easy job. But whenever we give them their price, that is the price.
Right.
Upfront pricing guarantee is one of the things that we do. It's not, well, it took a little longer than I thought, so it's $700.
Right.
That people, if you want to piss somebody off, do that. And then guys blame the customer. So that's sort of what, so all of that rolled up in a nutshell, I guess. And we do the job, and then we ask if we can put a yard sign in the yard that has the same graphics as our big box truck. Simple, to the point, big phone number.
Is that during the job or after you leave, like it stays there?
It stays there because we can buy them cheap enough that we just leave them there forever.
Oh, you leave them there till they take it down and throw them away? Or...
Yeah,
okay.
In perpetuity.
When you drive off. No,
yeah. And so we have looked at 39 jobs. We have sold 34 of them. That's a 88% closing ratio. Year to date, or in the 5 months, we have done $81,598 in revenue.
Wow.
from zero.
Really excited to see this year and next year.
Yeah, for sure.
And
For
if you
sure.
don't mind too, Steve, if you could break down like the 39 or the 39 bids, you kind of went over your marketing. What percentage of those would you like? What's your winningest kind of marketing that's bringing in jobs? And also curious of those 39, how many are repeat customers that you served and then they called you back within 3 months?
We only have a few repeats right now. We have one that we're trying to get back to. Well, anyways, only a few right now. And out of the 39, probably a third of them are gate customers.
Okay.
But probably our best lead for a non-customer is someone who has a serious pain and they see our yard sign, or we have done work for someone that they know.
Okay.
And that's probably our best. Right now, it's just referrals. I would say.
Would you say that they're people that you've done work for in the gate business or the handyman business?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
no, I mean, sorry, people that know those people, like the other people. So, like, because you said a third of them are people that you work for in the gate business, but what about, like, are the other people that know those people? Does that make sense?
Right. Probably, I would say probably fewer of the gate people.
Okay.
As far as the referrals.
Okay, cool.
But because we have built a brand that people love, because people tell me all the time, "Oh, I would love to have one of your gates, but we don't have a driveway,"
Right.
And so we have built a brand over years and years and years and years that people just love and respect.
So would you say it's possible for someone jumping right out of the gate, not having the TX Gate, company for the last 18 years, just starting the handyman business, jumping right in, taking the first 2 months to focus on the business and then hopping in and then 3 months in have a goal of 25 grand. Do you think that's feasible, or do you think that's mainly due to you already having a branding set up?
That is a good question. A lot depends on the market and our relationships. And I think relationships are super, super important, both in just your life and business. Because if someone is a do-it-yourselfer all the time, and they're always doing projects and stuff like this, and sort of people know them in that space to a degree, that gives them a little bit of a leg up. But I would say right out of the gate, starting from nothing, building a brand, I think in a few months that would be a very big stretch.
For sure.
And not that it's not possible, but I'm not going to say that having the brand that people love is not a huge up. It would be like if Chick-fil-A started a new, now they're going to open a barbecue place. Well, because they're
Chick-fil-A, right?
Chick-fil-A,
yeah, people are like, oh, Chick-fil-A got to be good, right?
Right. So
interesting. That makes sense.
So I cannot emphasize the importance of building a brand. Like we all see that a restaurant that no one can make it in the building. Doesn't matter, barbecue place, Mexican place, whatever, they don't make it. Well, if a strong brand went in there, they wouldn't have a problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's like the biggest takeaway, certainly from this conversation, is the importance of brand. Because a lot of business owners will jump right to, how do I get leads and ads and SEO and all these different avenues you could go down. But the reality is, before someone even goes on to Facebook or goes on to Google or wherever they want to search, they're checking their mental Rolodex first. Who do they know? And a lot of times that's from good branding. You mentioned referrals through your business. So, they're searching their mental Rolodex. Oh, my mother uses this handyman company, and so I'm going to call them before they don't even search for anybody. They just go with who already is serving someone they know, and they're going to be more recognizable, more memorable if they've built up that brand. So I think that's a huge thing that people don't focus on so much. They should hit that first before they start going down the tube of all the multitude of other options there are to get customers.
Right. It is
Definitely.
like, how do you build a house? Do you start with the chimney first? Oh man, I saw this brick that would be awesome on the chimney, and you have to build a foundation. And so if you are thinking about starting a handyman business, or maybe you already have one, the foundation is the most important part. But if you already have a business and it's already going and you have to go and do foundation work, it's hard.
Yes, for
But
sure.
it can be done, because in the gate business, we were in business from 03 to 16, and I had the mentality of just work hard. Hard work fixes everything. And so we got to 558,000 in revenue, which the gate business is very expensive business, because a $10,000 job, you have a $5,000 a gate operator, and it's a very expensive business.
A lot of expenses, yeah.
But whenever I joined a coaching program in 2017, and so we went from 558 to 736,000 the following year. So up 32%.
Wow.
And then the following year we did 835, and then we did 913. And then we were trying to hit that $1 million. It's so close. But 93% of small businesses are under $1 million. So
Wow.
only 6% ever break the $1 million ceiling.
Wow.
So in 19 we did 913,000, and in 2020 we did 1.3 million.
Wow.
Which
so you finally hit your goal from, what was that, 2008, right?
2014 or 15 was
That's
like,
awesome.
all right, we're going to break $1 million. But I thought, well, it's hard work.
That's awesome. So if as we wrap up here, what if you had to talk to someone that was thinking about starting a handyman business? Say right now they're a school teacher, but they've been doing handyman stuff on the side their whole life. They've always enjoyed kind of small construction stuff, and they have this idea of starting up a handyman business. What would you tell them would be their first steps to do? Should they, one, quit their job tomorrow and go full bore? Probably know your answer. Or what else should they do, right? What would be their avenue to starting a handyman business in your mind?
In my mind, out of all of the mistakes that I have made, and I made a bunch, first you have to check your heart. And then what I mean by that is that if you do not have a heart to serve people, do not start a business. Do us all a favor and don't start a business. There's a marketplace that is dying to be served. They are looking and searching for you, if you have that servant's heart to serve them. So you have to have a servant's heart, and you are a servant warrior. Let me just sometimes people have this idea of a servant. You are a servant warrior that makes things happen, but all in an effort to serve. And then I would just go down the list. What is your mission? What are your core values? And who are the people that you want to serve? And it takes time to find your niche. You have to go out and just do job after job, and you start to get a feel of the type of jobs that are best for you. But take a few months, take a few weeks, whatever, get all that stuff sort of hammered out. Then start putting out the feelers. Talk to your friends and family about your idea. What do you think? Is this a good idea? Because if everyone, if people that you know and trust thinks that it's a bad idea, it might be a bad idea.
Right.
And just go slow, take your time. This is a long game. This is a long game.
I think that's really the key, because I think a lot of people, they think like, I got to do it. I got to do it now. I got to hit the ground running. I got to make something happen right now. But I think if you focus on the long game rather than just the short game, you're going to be a whole heck of a lot better off, because you've actually taken the time, like you're saying, Stephen, to actually, focus on these few items and really make sure that you can launch a business that is successful right off the get-go. Because the thing is, most people are like, oh, I'm going to go out and start a business, and they get busy, and, they're working, but they're working seven days a week, 10 hours, 12 hours a day. They never get to see their family. And they get to this point where they're like, well, now that I've quit my job, I have to continue working this hard to bring in the money, or my family's not going to eat. Right. And so they're in this horrible cycle of, they've not created a business for themselves, but they've created a job that sucks worse than their job they just left.
Right.
A job that consumes all their time, all their energy, and takes them away from their family. So I think this is a good word to the wise of, if you're looking to get started, take some time first, do some thinking, consult some people. I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. What do you think about that, Jason?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's huge.
Plan it out, get your brand together, logo. We don't even really start working with somebody unless they at least have a logo in design now, because there's a correlation of businesses close because they never got the foundation built. They didn't get their logo. They didn't get on Google Maps, never got customer reviews. So certainly if you play it slow, get the game plan together. For that teacher that's full time, get the foundation together, start working, on the weekend or on the evenings, a job here, a job there, and that traction will build. You focus on the fundamentals, get customer reviews, build up that trust. People are craving, homeowners everywhere, every community. There is no shortage of opportunity for a professional handyman service to come in with that servant's heart.
Yep.
And to bring value to the people that are they're so desperate to pay you and your company and partner with you and have you help them out with something that they've just struggled with for years and years and years.
Yep, definitely. So as we kind of wrap up, Stephen, what would be your last advice or tips for fellow handyman business owners?
Well, if you liked anything I had to say, you can check out my podcast, Pull Up and Thrive.
Yes,
and
highly recommend it.
And I go into most of what we've talked about in very specific detail. But if this is something that you want to do and you haven't done because you're afraid and you don't know if you can do it or not, and you have a servant's heart and everyone around you is like, man, you would kill it at this. Do it. You can do it. You put in the hard work and do it. Don't do anything because I'm afraid. All that courage is someone who is afraid but they did it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're that handyman that is stressed out, under pressure, you don't know how you're going to make it, you can make it. Go back to why you started this business in the first place. Go back to that why, because if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not a strong enough why. But go back to that why. Visit that again. Man, I started this so my kids could have a better life. I started this so I could serve people. I started, whatever that is, don't you quit. Don't you give up. There is a marketplace out there waiting for you to serve them.
100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we gotta wrap this up. Stephen, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been a blessing to us and hopefully our viewers. I know for sure a lot of takeaways from this. So just to recap to you guys, Pull Up and Thrive podcast, Stephen Capps, lots of really actionable points. I mean, both Alan and I have tuned into a few episodes and can vouch that, there's some solid details that he breaks down that he was touched on here. So Pull Up and Thrive podcast. Be sure to, if you're not plugged in yet to the Handyman Journey Mastermind group on Facebook. Also a new group we started is the Handyman Success Mastermind group on Facebook. Stephen Capps, will be getting him in there if he isn't already, so you can connect directly with him. It's all about business growth and marketing and taking that step to the next level. So Stephen, thanks again for coming on.
Hey,
thank you all for tuning in.
yeah. Thank you. See you guys later.